Hey,
Hey,
I'm like hiding behind here. What's
you
going
can
on?
tilt it down some more, man.
Yeah, like I'm like over here somewhere.
That's why I said, like, it's like we're gonna get it fixed.
Where's the tech support around here? Right here. Anywho, I think this I don't know. I consider us more of like a audio podcast, but
Everybody wants video these
yeah.
days, so
But if you want to see that it's live, it's not some like audiotronic or being made in China. I think one of the questions from the panel was like, "Can you say China on the app?"
yeah,
It's like, yeah,
for everybody that knows, and this will put us in like timing. The CEO of TikTok was
CEO TikTok was in front of some committee,
Congress or
yeah,
whatever.
and being grilled, if you could call it that, about
He didn't answer anything, pretty much.
yeah. But I think some of the questions were stupid and silly.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's like, does it have access to your internet? It's like, what are you talking about? The Wi-Fi? It's like, yeah, so it can access your Wi-Fi. It's like you connect, like that's how your devices connect. Like you do that, or they're like, how does it know how old the children are? Because you tell it how old it is. I mean,
One guy had a good point. He was trying to say what's their revenue because they're tied to that other company as well. That's linked back to China. And he's like, we're a private company. We're not going to share any of our financials. And I was just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I pulled a Joe Biden. Sorry. Come on, man.
Yeah. Guys, it's not that hard. What are we talking about? Come on. Made in
Where
America.
am I?
Wait, made in America by Americans. Easy. Come on. It's like, what's happening? Unbelievable. But yeah, that's where we live in right now. But it is important to, I mean, in the circus of life, right? There's ups and downs. And when you have situations where America's been on the up for so long,
Right.
just call it what it is. We're on a down right now, man.
Yeah.
We are like, we're not up on anything.
Right.
We're up on debt. That's what we're up on.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
like, we're down in leadership. We're down in manufacturing. We're down in education. We're down in health. We're not doing anything all that well, honestly. Military, but military gets tested when there's wars.
Yeah, but there was a article that I read that they're having a hard time getting people to recruit in there. So it's sooner or later it's going to go back to like, we're going to call upon you.
Right. Uncle Sam needs you.
Right.
I don't know. It just seems like, now I say that because there were things that went on in the last couple of weeks. So in the month of March of 23, China is starting to play. So the president of China was out touring and conducting world meetings that are kind of epic in nature. One specifically was a peace accord that they put together, a treaty of sort between the country of Iran and Saudi Arabia, which are not necessarily enemies, but in terms of the fact that they're both Islamic countries, but one is like Shiite, the other one's Sunni. They are very different in their nature and understanding. So the fact that it took China to come over and broker a peace between these two, and now there's like the two of them aren't rivals. They're joining. And the other piece of that was to invite them over because they're both oil producing countries.
Mm-hmm.
invite them over to this other thing that is now these superpowers that specifically is missing the United States from the table. And these groups includes like Venezuela, includes people that we're not friendly with, but guess what they're doing? They're creating a new trading where the barrels of oil are not being transacted in US dollars. Yeah. Right now,
everything's US dollars.
Everything's US dollars. They're going to be trading barrels of oil in this new group in yen. We're like not even at the table, and we're not even relevant anymore. That devalues our money quite a bit, because you got companies and you got countries that have stuff. So the fact that you're on a U.S. sanction would mean nothing.
Right.
It's like, fine, don't buy. I'll just go trade it through another exchange where other people can buy, and we'll trade all that money in different denomination. So when we say we're down politically. It's not just Republican, Democrat.
No, it's
globally. They don't even care that we exist anymore. That's not good news.
No.
And so we're like, it has to mean something when, like, so like, I don't know, it was like last year or sometime he flew out there, the president flew out there, flying all the way to like Saudi Arabia, and then and then you're like, hey, can you like produce more oil? And they're like, no.
Well, and lower the price.
Lower the price. No thanks. Sent you packing. That's not like a stop by next door. That's a fly across the world to come back empty-handed. That's pretty embarrassing.
Especially when...
and you're supposed to be your allies.
Well, and I mean, to each person's opinion, and this is my opinion, is like, we have enough oil here that... But he put the stop to it all. So it's like, I just don't understand. Like, where this isn't good.
It's not good. I don't know what the right answer is, but the fact that when somebody doesn't take you seriously, it doesn't matter whether you threaten them or you make promises or do whatever. They're just saying, we don't care that you even exist.
Right.
So the thing that we need to be careful about isn't some stupid app. It's the fact that, like, globally, the position of the United States as like world police or whatever, economic peacekeeper or whatever, is just not there anymore.
Well, it's just like the Bible. It's like we're all fighting within each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to take ourselves out.
Yep. That's how infighting works. And so to kind of bring it back to our political world, within each party, but more specific within the Republican Party, there's a lot more infighting going on because the fact that the party aligned with President Trump, and then at some point, maybe not a big enough faction, kind of separated out from his reelection. But to a greater extent, I would say what I would call the ultra MAGA faction is kind of like super far right.
Right.
And then you have the traditional Republicans. And traditional Republicans are like, okay, well, we got to get back to our values, not necessarily like a Trump brand.
Right.
And now there's a dichotomy within the party that says, are you kind of like Camp Rhino, or are you going to be like Trump? Because there's other candidates, and is it Trump or nothing? And then on the flip side, you've got people that are like, okay, do we get behind this administration? Because if you're going to like go away from the administration, you're either going to be like a sellout, right? Or admit the fact that like this president doesn't really have much of a chance of re-election anyway. I don't know if it's even any more than Trump. I've never in my life, I've never experienced a sitting president that had less of a chance of reelection than somebody new coming in.
Right.
So the question within the Democrat Party is
Who
align with the sitting president for reelection, or start beefing up someone that can win.
Right.
So that's a split within the party too.
Yeah, but anybody that can win, that's a Democrat.
Is going to be considered a sellout.
Well, and not only that, but their values, in my mind's eye, their values, and it's not that they align to Republican, but that they're more centered around the people.
And yeah, you got to get off the ridiculous bus. That's what
right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is like they aren't on the ridiculous bus, so you could actually get behind this person and get them in there. But they don't, they're like, no, that doesn't align with like whatever woke is or whatever. Like if they don't align with that stuff, it's like this wokeism or whatever it is.
Let's go there, man. Let's do. We haven't covered woke.
It's killing our country.
Right, but
because it's just creating a divide.
Is it even more crazy to define woke as it is to? Because I think we can define man woman. That's not that hard, right? We or hoo ha or whatever. I mean, it's not that hard. Okay, so what are you born with? We can start with the parts. We can start with the DNA. Okay,
right.
You can dress up however you want. Doesn't make it so. Okay,
right.
End of story. Moving on. Now let's talk about this idea of wokeism. Where did it come from? Did it start? Is it something that people created? I mean, I haven't done research about it, but it's like, is it because of enlightenment? Is that like because you're awake? You wake from what? Woke from what? Like are we all asleep? Is it like the Matrix where they like unplug and they're like, oh, look, we've all been asleep. So if you're not woke, are you asleep?
Well, I think this has always existed. In one of our favorite comedians, he has a skit on it, but it's basically like the internet created a lot of this functionality. Like if you wanted to, and I'm just throwing this out, dress up as a baby, like you did that in the private of your own home. But now it's like they're selling out the Hilton Garden Inn and they're having a whole
right. But that's like freakish, right? I'm talking about
that's the woke. That's crazy. That's
right. But it's crazy to you.
But that's what
if somebody wants to dress because dress up as a baby and dress up as trans, it's all equal, right?
Right.
But what we're talking about is like a CRT part of that. Yes,
it's all a part of it,
right? So that doesn't have anything to do with dress up.
No, but I'm just saying that's just an example of what is part of all this bundled up that's creating division within our country. Because if I say something you don't like,
so let's talk about, you said you don't like, right? Offensive, right? What is to take offense? If I say, I don't like your shirt, right? That's not mean I'm anti-black shirt. I just don't like that shirt. Now, you could take offense that like, he didn't like me, therefore he didn't like my shirt. Or I could be like, oh, you don't like it because it's black. It's up to you to interpret it. All I said was, I don't like that.
right?
And am I entitled to my opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Are you entitled to have feelings about it? Sure. Okay, now, if you have to then now give me guardrails to say, you can't say certain things because it's going to like affect my feelings, go back to the 90s, politically correct speech, right? I think that was the beginning of that, was like making sure people's feelings don't get hurt. Don't say that. That's not inclusive.
Right.
Don't say that. That's not nice. That's not the problem. Oh, they prefer this. So now other people's preferences become somebody else's to do.
Right.
That's what's wrong with it. It's not even about the thing. It's not about dress up. It's not about history. It's not about
I think we're saying the same thing. We're just saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like everything that's wrapped up into this country, whether you agree with it or not, it's creating a divide.
So there's the worrying about hurting people's feelings,
which
Okay.
is
Okay.
and then
And then there's that
the actual
act of intentionally, like the whole, what is it called? Diversity and inclusion. Isn't that like the whole, okay, remember there was affirmative action. Do you remember affirmative action where like a certain percentage of applicants had to be like of certain persuasion or of certain minority
Right.
status or whatever. And you had to have like the minority hire, like,
Right.
like, oh, the token fill in the blank
Right.
hire. And everybody knew, right? Well, then at one point that actually started negatively affecting non-minority applicants of whatever, because it's like you're now favoring certain things over, therefore those who weren't part of the things you were selecting for are now being negatively affected. So then it's like, okay, let's stop with the whole favoring one side over the other, whether it's white, black, male, female, whatever, right? So now to say diversity and inclusion now means to not only have them, but to have them in a decision-making power, or to have them at the table. So you like have to have like a, I don't know, like of every kind. Like, you know, we're back to like, okay, we're going to make Noah's. Yeah. Okay. 2 of everything.
And by the way, if you're one of those and you're listening, whatever it is, it doesn't
care,
bother me.
But I'm just saying, like, if I have to have a situation where if you're going to have a board of directors and it's like, oh, where's like your African female, or where's your, you know, non-binary board member? Like, why do I have to have a non-binary board member? And if you don't have one, then you're not compliant with diversity. So the policy of diversity and inclusion is inherently, I believe, wrong in nature. To be inclusive of one type is to select for that type. And by you selecting for that thing, you're creating favoritism.
Yeah.
Which is really what, like, racism or all that was wrong.
Right. And they're telling you exactly what you need to hire for.
Yep. So that's what's wrong about it.
Which,
and it's
if you were whatever that is,
right?
Then and you actually had the skill set, I would have hired you anyway.
Right. That should matter. So the topics are not the issue. Meaning, if someone's a teacher, it shouldn't matter what their sexual preference is. But if you're hiring them because of their non-binary status to have a diversity checkbox, or to have a trans day, is it trans or trans? Transgender. I hadn't been to the office this week. I sent you this joke. I don't know if you saw it. It said, my boss asked why I wasn't at work all week. I told him I was there. You just couldn't see me because I identify as invisible. I'm a trans parent. My pronouns are who and where. So, and then this whole pronoun business, it's stupid. Those aren't even like, I don't know. If you tell me how you went to be treated, you're putting that on me.
Right.
And that's not America.
No.
Simple as that. I can't. That's what the freedom. You have a freedom to express yourself. That's your choice.
Right.
But your choices can't dictate my choice.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I had a guy.
You had a guy.
I had a guy at work. That was he was like I was like a fire drill, and it was his, like, he was driving the fire drill, and I was like, I get on the phone and he's like, you're holding this up, and I was like, well, your emergency is not my emergency. Mm-hmm. And then I go, this, to be honest with you, this isn't even important. It's important to you,
right?
but it's not as far as the corporation. Like, this is taking up a lot of people's time when they should be calling their customers and trying to sell.
Right. This is where, you know, if people just looking at it from like a corporate standpoint, like you just said, it's important to you, but it may not be overall important to the company. I have product managers that come to me and they're like, this is the most important thing on my agenda. Great.
It's your agenda.
On your agenda, this is on your backlog, it's number one priority. I can appreciate that. I understand that. Here's the Q2 backlog. You're not even on the radar. Your number one thing isn't on the radar. Forget number two. Because you're over here asking, like, what's going on with these 5 things?
Right.
Like, I don't even know what those are. Well, no one's even working on these. They're working on these things. 3 of them are from this group. 2 of them are from that group. 5 of these are from this group. And 1's from compliance. And so I have to go through compliance to get my stuff on the board. I'm like, no, like, you just have to, like, your stuff, just because it's number 1 on yours doesn't make it number 1 on the agenda. This is what we're working on. Well, who decides all that? Everybody puts all their stuff, like you. Like you're fighting for your stuff, and then it has to get approval, prioritized, funded, and then we'll work on it. Until then, just keep it as the number 1 priority. So I guess it comes down to, like, I guess having non-selfish behavior. Yeah. So that person in a selfish way wants to have their number 1 thing worked on, correct?
Right.
By other people, wanting to make his important thing important to other people.
Right.
But at the same time, on the same breath, they're not willing to understand or appreciate that there are other important things that other people cared about that might be more important. That may not be important to this individual, but they're important to other decision makers. So when you kind of flip that on its head and then be like, okay, I understand to, like, one group being involved in the boardroom and the decision making might be important to you. But at the same time, understand that in the grand scheme of things, like, our position in the world is also important, and not hurting someone's feelings may not even be, like, all that top priority. So if we sit here and argue about pronouns, while there's, like, they're discussing the price of oil somewhere else in another denomination, we're missing out. We are missing out. We're missing out on that diplomacy. We established that. We established that trade in U.S. dollars for a reason.
Now it's just being taken away.
Yeah. And you don't hear about it.
No.
Because you know why? Because it makes us look weak. It makes us look stupid.
Well, it's going and making sure that we don't hurt somebody's feelings.
Right. Including everybody. Yeah. So.
But we're not even being... The ironic part of that is we want to include everybody, but we're not being included.
We're not being included ourselves. Right. So, in a way, it's like, if you're going to throw a party and you want to be inclusive of everyone, but do you invite the people that are going to ruin it for everybody else? Do you invite the people that are going to, like, give you grief about even inviting them? Do you invite the people that have, like, crazy dietary restrictions that are going to make it difficult to have them over? Do you invite the people that are going to always say no? Do you invite the people that get annoyed the fact that you, like, invited them to begin with? Do you invite the people that come over and then talk crap the whole time and then talk crap about the fact that you included them and how it was such a burden to go? No. And then those very same people will complain that you didn't invite them at all.
Right.
Just be nice. Show up. Be pleasant. Help clean up. You'll get invited if you want to go.
Right.
If you don't want to go, shut the hell up and don't ask to be invited.
Right.
If you don't want to go, if you truly don't want to go. But if you just want drama, hello. Then pick a side. We're just going to argue the whole time.
Right.
That's all I got to say about that.
With that?
Yeah.
We'll cut this
3 snaps and we're out.
With a twist.
And a twist.
Peace out.